To the deep dive.
Hey there.
Today, we're really getting into one of hip-hop's, most legendary rivalry.
Oh yeah, 50 Cent versus Ja Rule. It's iconic.
Epic, and sometimes, honestly, kind of comedic, too. A real clash of titans.
Definitely. And we've been digging into this really detailed text, go through all the chapters, the origins, the dynamic.
The whole impact of it.
It lays out just how complex it all was.
So our mission for this deep dive, let's unpack that complexity. We want to pull out the key bits from the source material about how this whole thing kicked off, what kept it going.
And why we're still sort of talking about it today.
Exactly. Let's unpack this because it's fascinating right off the bat.
It is. You've got these two artists, 50 and Ja, both coming out of Queens.
Similar backgrounds, yeah. Pretty tough environments.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Facing, significant struggles that definitely shaped them.
And this is the key thing, musically, drastically different paths and different ways they handled fame.
Totally. Ja Rule, he blew up with those melodic hooks, blending R&B. He was aiming broad, very commercial.
Think always on time, big hits.
Huge hits. Then 50 Cent arrives later on with this really raw, almost confrontational street persona.
That get rich or die trying energy. Undeniable.
And that fundamental difference in the music and how they were perceived, especially around authenticity in hip-hop, that just set the whole stage for conflict.
Okay, and here's where the source says it gets really interesting. This wasn't just like disagreeing about music styles.
No.
It blew up fast into a proper beef.
Right, and beef in hip-hop, that's a whole different level, isn't it? It's not just competition.
It's public, it's insults, diss tracks.
Yeah.
It gets personal.
Exactly. And the source, it points to some early friction points pretty clearly. There was apparently some tension, maybe even a physical thing back in 99.
But the real ignition point, according to the text, was 50's track How to Rob, also for 99.
Yeah. That track was something else.
Wild is one word for it. He's basically laying out how he'd rob like a whole phone book of famous artists, Ja Rule included, of course.
It was audacious, sure, but the source frames it as more than that. It was strategic, calculated.
Calculated? How so?
Well, 50 himself apparently said he was just trying to stir the pot, but it was also announcing himself, right? Showing off his lyrical skills, grabbing attention by aiming high.
Targeting the big names to make a name for himself?
Pretty much. Positioning himself as this outsider, challenging everyone, and Ja Rule reacting to being on that list. That lit the fuse.
And the media just ate it up. The source really emphasizes their role.
Oh, absolutely crucial. Every little diss, every comeback, those concert interruptions.
Sure.
Remember 50's crew showing up at Ja's video shoot.
Yeah, became instant headlines. The media loved the drama.
It created this feedback loop. It wasn't some private argument anymore. It was a public show, amplified constantly. And 50 understood that.
He seemed to be a master at using the media, turning it to his advantage.
Incredibly effective, which led to this battle of egos, personas.
And 50 mocking Ja Rule's image, calling him a wanksta.
Yes, that term wanksta. So effective because it tapped right into that whole hip-hop debate about keeping it real, about authenticity.
Painted Ja as fake? Maybe a sellout?
Kind of, yeah. Like he'd gone too pop, lost his street roots, contrasting him with 50's own carefully built image.
Which, as the source points out, forced this whole conversation in the genre about what authentic even means anymore.
Ja Rule tried hitting back, of course. Tracks, albums like Blood in My Eye.
But did it land the same way?
The source suggests, maybe not quite, 50's output was just relentless. Plus his promotional game, his sharp wit.
He had a knack for insults that were cutting, but also kind of clever, even funny sometimes.
Exactly. That mix of real animosity and linguistic skill made his disses stick. Not just in songs, but interviews too.
It became almost like performance art. Strategy mixed with genuine dislike.
So pulling back, looking at the big picture here.
Yeah.
This whole rivalry. It really gives us a window into, competition, authenticity, the music business itself.
For sure. You look at everything, How to Rob, that wanksta term, the different images, how the media blew it up. It shows how personal stuff, market strategy, even humor.
It all intersects in hip-hop. Powerfully. Sometimes destructively.
You can see this wasn't just, entertainment for entertainment's sake. It tapped into real debates about credibility, selling out media power, what it takes to win.
And maintain relevance in that space. It's intense.
Which makes you think, especially now with social media, how fans get involved, how rivalries are fueled today. It raises a question, doesn't it? What does this whole 50 versus Ja saga from a slightly different media era actually teach us about that balance? between being a real artist and just putting on a show for clicks in this digital age.
Yeah, where's that line between authentic expression and just, well, public spectacle? It's definitely something to think about.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.